lobby, alright? But there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? Where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth! No, you already figured it out. You're the owner of the 7777777 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. And the only reason this car didn't reach a verdict yesterday because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. That number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all that has been removed from that list, I call for a war. 5 minutes, right? And Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. It depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is where the prosecution put forth its opening statements. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? I'm good. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as is in my walk. That's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No. Lana!
Objection!
You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defendant's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me. It has significantly proven its case for testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. The defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Our request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant...
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. Why wouldn't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. This sudden confession from the defendant. It's obviously some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone upwards as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To who? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hear her testimony. Hold it! Mr. Ezra, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. Exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dock of the Joe Dock Killers. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. Sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember the story concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, most certainly is. Well, okay then. You so gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. Yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell Mr. Edgeworth. What does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on the dock. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right. Just that lightning flash again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman? The victim? So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. You told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? That picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning.
Objection!
The list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is evidence is for the SO9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here.
Objection!
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order, order! But Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. This list was torn in half, and that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. White? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Something wrong? Do you have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There's indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing! That thing? That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see was shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture is exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could put such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dock about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. White, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? Take that! The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look close to see that, Mr. White. Mr. White, look at the evidence. See the motor weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dock was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Objection!
And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken! Ah! What's the meaning of this?
Objection!
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Objection!
Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. It was broken beforehand and couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was identically discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
Objection!
That's why I asked her so many times to see what Sosie remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. See what Sosie remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency.
Objection!
That's a fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? Treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Order, order, order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupt? Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutor Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gantz. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in the story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. That's true. Then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual mortar weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? The witness in this is adamant about the accuracy of what he saw. It can just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The mortar weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real mortar weapon.
Take that!
The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken mortar weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we saw earlier, concluded the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order, order, order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given the broken shielded knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out the knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation.
Objection!
That can't be. No, why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutor Award knife was the mortar weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. You mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! one who actually died. It's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright had been a bit too eager to jump to a conclusion. Hold it! Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness, Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? Test? The one with that scribble on the back? I knew it. It's Pixar. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this Pixar. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we add this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible. The chief of detectives had even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its examination. Hold it! Stop! Please! Don't pursue this any further! Lana? What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. You can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime! Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Scott. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with the winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns.
Objection!
This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken.
Objection!
That may well be. What's important is what caused us to think he saw what he did. Oh, I suppose you have an explanation? I said that by all means, please tell us what the shadow really was. Was it ever saw when that lightning flashed? What is this blue badger really? Blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. And she certainly saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defendant's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright! In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike.
Take that!
The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is this? I believe it's some sort of jar. Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. This isn't right. I've got to make it look more like the bad guy.
Objection!
Allow me to remain the defense. Its case hinges on the witness's drawing. If it can't match the shape the witness drew, we cannot accept his claim. Got to find just the right angle. Maybe I should rotate it vertically a bit more or horizontally. Come on, so you can do it. Got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this charge is evidence to the Blue Badger. No. It can't be! Order, order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witness on the day of the crime was actually this.
Objection!
Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that Badger thing was actually just a jar? That doesn't change anything.
Objection!
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgewater. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. What's different now than what we know the witness saw this jar? Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, but knowing this, we could have seen this jar. Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant.
Objection!
The body was found lying near Lana Skye's desk. The witness testified so herself.
Objection!
Yes, it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Skye's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Team Gant's office.
Objection!
Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from David Gant's office to Lana Skye's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. But this is why Lana tried to stop the trouble. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to been that the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? A suit of armor? Or a very sharp and dangerous looking sword? Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense realizes, the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life? And then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Jackson! What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye. Given the circumstances, so dark more to Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I tell you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. So we can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. You say, Miss Skye? Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim had left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. Left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. If such a message exists, got to think back to the court record. The real motorist name that the victim may have left behind. Message to the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of anything. There's only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. White, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased.
Take that!
This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badge from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgetting this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on the jar. Looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here, blood and blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines? Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used a few precious moments left to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the line changed directions. Precisely so. All you need to do is connect with these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No. Mr. White, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these blood stains will reveal to us the message. Answer. Let's connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. See, Lorthy? Can't say I didn't warn you. To dance? Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, the doctor was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Lordy. Because of you, the innocent man was sentenced to death. That, you used false evidence to ensure his conviction.
Objection!
But your dog really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. You know, we aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-ups or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going The gravel's panic fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial's headed, no one knows.